Now, Ansys, a small company on the exchange, but an interesting one. It slipped to a first half headline loss per share, 1.1 cents. Revenue decreased 14% to 43 million. Joining us for a look at those numbers is interim CEO of Ansys and the chairman of the company, Daka. Morning, Teddy.
Morning.
It's a small company. It's an interesting one. You're exposed to defence, to mining, to industrial areas, but railways looks to be your main focus, or should be your main focus. But you've gone through a tough time, and if you look, people have these highlights at the top of company statements, and you've got two highlights. One of them says 20% cut in the salary bill.
Correct.
And that probably tells us what pain you've gone through.
Yes. If you see, 70% of the cost in Ansys is from people, because we're knowledge workers, effectively we're engineers. We design serious technology for the defense sector, the mining sector, as well as the railway sector. And so what we've seen with the slump that is taking place in the mining sector, particularly in platinum, as well as the gold, most of our mining sector business is disappointed in the past 6 months, although we're seeing a recovery in that area because of good interest for our rock monitoring systems in countries such as North America and Canada, in Chile, Australia, and in Russia. So we're seeing a recovery coming in the sector, but in the local market, mining has depressed in that area. Our defense sector, which over the years has also been on the slowdown, happily to support that, defense actually turned around now, and we're seeing significant growth in that sector. As you know, we work on systems such as the Royal Fork helicopter. We design systems for missile systems or ground-based air defense systems for the defense sector, predominantly for Denel and Kauzais and those kind of customers. Railways has been a growth sector for quite some time. It continues to grow. It didn't disappoint. It grew again in this period, and we're seeing further growth as a result of the infrastructure spend that is going in the sector. Ansys is lucky in the sense that we not just work on the track side, and we've got lots of measurement systems that we put on the track side, but we also have systems that we put on board, and our customers include Transnet itself, but Toshiba, companies such as GE, as well as the Chinese companies going to supply.
Well, with those various segments of the business bringing mixed fortunes rather to the business, and with the company having to employ lots of working capital within that very trying context, the other headline that David was alluding to a little earlier that came through in your highlights was restructuring process finalized. What exactly are we looking at in terms of the restructured business now?
Prior to the restructuring, Ansys after the listing, we had a number of acquisitions that we made. And the first thing that we did post that was an integration of these businesses. Some of them disappointed, and we disposed some of those businesses. What remained now was restructuring our business operations to be in line now with the new corporate entity in terms of how we've restructured that. And the result of that is we have put more people on the revenue side in terms of sales capability. We have streamlined our assembly plants. We have streamlined our operations in terms of how we execute our projects, and that has resulted also in a 20% savings on our salary bill, which is 17% of our number of people that we've had to let go.
But now you talk in your note about a challenging labour market, but it doesn't sound like you've got labour issues in the normal sense. As you say, knowledge workers, highly specialised, highly skilled. So how did that work?
Well, this is challenging in terms of our customers, not in terms of Ansys.
It's not the company.
No, we're exposed to mining, and with what's happening in the market conditions at the moment in mining, we're feeling that pinch in our mining business. But as I said, we've countered that with the exports that we're trying to do now. Well, railways first, but mining also looking at exports. Okay.
Within that railway business, what's interesting is that you're benefiting from the infrastructure investments that clients within that space make, and that's very interesting. What kind of investments are being made? Because I was chatting to David a little earlier. I was on the N3 on the weekend, and it continues to surprise me, the number of trucks on that road between Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. It's surprising. So it'll be very interesting to know what kind of investments are being made by your railway clients.
But also driving along that road, when you go next to the railway line, there are no trains.
Absolutely.
You hardly ever see a train.
Two types. I would put them in two areas. From the infrastructure side, you have the building new lines, but they're also trying to increase capacity on the existing lines by using better signaling systems. So on the new lines, as you know, Transnet is trying to put new lines from Lephalale to bring coal down to the Saldanha. We're also trying another route to go via Swaziland. All those are new lines that they're building, and Ansys is poised for putting infrastructure on that. Just to give you a sense, we're the company that collects all the data in terms of the condition of the train as it's traveling at 90 km an hour. We're able to tell that the wheel alignment is okay, the wheel bearings are not hot, the load on the train is still okay, and this data is collected to avoid collisions and to avoid loads falling off, which then they can advise the driver and say you can stop the train to fix that. So anything that has got to do with the infrastructure growth, growing the railway line, means we have to going to put more systems on that. As we put more systems, we create more annuity income because we're the OEM in most of these areas. But there's also growth in terms of the number of locomotives that Transnet is putting in there. They're talking of 3,000 locomotives that are coming online, and in each one of those locomotives we have onboard systems that we put into those locomotives. So the more locomotives they buy, the more systems that we put in the locos as well.
And that's seeing your order book currently in excess of 28 million rand. We have to look at the margins.
Is that good or bad? 28 million, is that what you would like, or is it not very good?
Like any other business, you'd like to do more, but given the market conditions where we are, we're comfortable with the 28 order book that we have, and we're sure that there's more that's going to come in the next few weeks as we go towards the end of the financial year.
Are you comfortable with the margins that you're able to put on your products? Because you know, that will be telling off just how competitive an industry you're operating in. Right?
Margins are still good overall for the business. I mean, they've dropped down by about 4%, but these are margins from GP margins of 45 coming down to about 40 or 39%. They're still reasonable margins in that space.